Do you have your gear? Have I seen a deer?
Yeah. Doe, a deer, a female deer.
Is this audio recording? Let's see how it sounds right now. I'll mumble over in the corner.
That would bring us back to doe, 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 doe.
Test it.
Yeah.
No, how does it sound, dude? Let's.
We'll find out. I'll put this at the end of the interview as like an outtake.
Oh, so we're not even gonna do an audio quality test.
Rolling.
So this is the 10-year anniversary for Captain Unusual.
10 years, 10 cameras, no 1080p.
No 1080p over the whole thing.
Well, except just recently.
Oh.
With the Moto, I started recording 1080p.
So what's your favorite phone? I'm going to just ask you that off the thing.
Probably this newest one.
Okay.
Just because it's 1080p and, you know, the microphone's pretty good. And
yeah, I mean, we did an audio test that you can stick around till the end and figure out how our audio test went.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, I've been I've had a YouTube channel now for 10 years, ever since November of 2011. So. Okay. Yep, we've hit the 10-year anniversary right this month.
What was your first video?
My very first video was a video about Occupy Wall Street.
Oh, did you take that down?
Yeah, it's not up anymore.
Okay.
I was actually encouraged to make that video by a Facebook friend I had, who was this girl who was an aspiring actress.
Oh, wow.
In New York City.
I've
never met her. I interacted with her a lot online, but I've never met her or anything. And she was doing a project about Occupy Wall Street where she wanted all of her Facebook friends to make videos about Occupy Wall Street and what it meant to us. And I decided I'm going to go through with that.
Wow.
And I went ahead and I made a video, and I started up the channel just so that I could upload that video, and I went ahead and uploaded it, and that was my first video.
Did you call it Captain Unusual at the start?
No, the original name was The Slam Poet 1985.
Nice.
And that's actually still in the URL, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know how, like, when you change your channel name, the old URL is still there?
Yeah.
I've seen that with a lot of other channels, too.
So why did you call it The Slam Poet? Was it because you did poetry and you wanted to slam the chick in New York? Or how did you...
Back then, well, slam poet, you've heard of slam poetry.
Yeah, there were poetry slams, like, back in that time. It was pretty popular.
Yeah. And that was my main creative outlet back then.
Huh.
I wrote a lot of poetry back then. I've really gotten over it now, like poetry. I mean, I still write, like, song parodies and stuff like that. But when it comes to, like, you know, like, serious poetry, I mean, I like a lot of what I wrote back then. Yeah. And I'm proud of the fact that it's all lyrical. Because to me, like, I mean, people aren't going to like this, but in my opinion, if it doesn't rhyme, it's not poetry.
Ooh. Wow.
I know, controversial.
Okay, we're in this.
Salty take.
Yeah.
But
I still do poetry. I've gotten published in print stuff and even on online, prestigious, uppity New York websites and stuff. I don't even think my stuff's that good.
Yeah, I was published in an anthology, and I was actually... sent an email recently. They were going to make a volume 2, and they wanted me to write something, but I never did. But I wrote probably about a book's worth of poetry back then.
Well, you should do a best of and publish it on CreateSpace or Amazon Publishing to see if you can make some money.
I would like to get it all published someday.
Yeah,
like
just
pick out the ones that I still like and get them published. It'd probably be like about a 50-page book or something.
Dude, I like that idea, because then you could just plug it in with some of your videos. And just don't publish it under your name, just publish it as Captain.
Well, that was probably that was another one of my major projects. Was in the early days was I actually read all of my poems to the camera.
Nice.
In individual videos, and those aren't up anymore either. Like most of my old videos are not.
Yeah, your PBS one took it down, right?
Took the PBS one down. The only ones from that era, like from way back, like 2011, 2012, that are still up, are the ones of like locations. One of my first videos to reach into the thousands, actually I think it was my first video to reach over 1,000 views, was the Hardee's closing down. There's like a Hardee's that closed down in Marion.
And that's where the bowling alley got shut down there. And
yeah,
now it's just a gas station and a strip mall.
And a CVS pharmacy.
Oh wow,
it's like the most boring place in the world. Yeah,
it was a cool place, but you know what? Now like Wendy's and Hardee's shutting down. You should shoot more videos of those.
I know. Well, see, back then it was shocking because like the idea of a place like that closing down. I mean, now it's commonplace. Now it's like
they didn't want to pay more than $7.50 an hour. So.
Now you're surprised if you see a restaurant still open. You know, it's
now they're open like 2 to 4 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, takeout only after 5 p.m. You know, it's
takeout the whole time. You're not getting in.
Yeah.
So, well, that was an interesting start.
Yeah. What's your next question?
Poems to fast food. And all that. Let me go here. What is your least favorite thing about doing this? We're going to keep it on the negative and go more towards the positive.
My least favorite thing about doing this?
Yeah.
The work.
I thought you just shoot video and video go online.
When I have a video that I have to edit really heavily, it's fun when it's going well and when it turns out good. But actually doing the editing, I don't particularly enjoy it.
You had to be in it like 5 years before you could actually edit, if not longer. Because I remember back in the day when we collaborated, you're like, once this goes live, there's no stopping. It was like speed. You're like, once it records, there's no edits. We keep it raw. We keep it real. Do you remember when you actually kind of picked up the editing skills?
I miss the days when YouTube actually had its own video editor.
Okay.
You could edit videos that had been published already.
Nice.
But they won't let you do that anymore. Now, when a video's up, it's up the way it is. You can't go back and edit it at all.
That's bullshit, though. I mean, they have the technology. They can do that. They just choose not to.
Yeah, I think that supporting the software got too expensive for them, or more than they were willing to pay for it.
Or people would manipulate their videos, or just whatever.
Yeah, but no, it was kind of a gradual learning process over time. When I started using the Windows video editor and started messing around with Microsoft Paint, which, you know, it's kind of fun because like I'm using tools that most people would think are really primitive. But I'm really proud of what I'm able to do with those tools, despite how primitive they are. And I actually enjoy the kind of the amateurish style of my videos.
It makes them more distinct.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I use whatever the Mac bullshit is, the Filmmaker Pro 9000, and I pay a monthly subscription fee.
Well,
and you know,
and that's something I definitely won't do. I mean, my strategy is make the best stuff I can, spending as little as possible.
That's your philosophy? I never would have guessed that. Mister, I'm keeping my cell phone even after, you know, I have to turn it off to reply to somebody's text message.
The backspace doesn't work anymore.
Ridiculous. That you were the cheap. Wow. I would have thought you're Mr. Top Dollar rolling around in a Rolls Royce and a Rolex, man. Who knew?
Yeah.
I guess we'll call you Captain Cheap Ass.
My channel really got going when I bought my Kodak EasyShare back in 2011. That was when I really started, and that was my first camera, and that camera lasted me years and years. Even when the battery door broke, the hinge still worked, but the plastic covering on the door didn't work anymore, so I couldn't close the battery door. I had to use like a rubber band to keep the batteries in there. And I really love that, and it still works. But I've moved on to other cameras now, but it's still functional. So, and it was this metallic purple color, and I used to call it the PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
Because a lot of PT Cruisers back then were that kind of purple color, that sort of metallic purple.
Your wife's kind of gone in a circle then.
Yeah.
With your current vehicle.
Lots of circles, yeah. Well, no, that's not my current vehicle right now, but
it's going to be.
It will be someday.
We're not going to say what that vehicle is. That's up to the viewers to figure out.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? This is why I wanted to do the interview, because I just found you inspirational.
Thank you, man.
And a lot of it's because I'm calling you Captain Cheap Ass, because a lot of people...
You cheap, inspirational bastard.
But a lot of people I talk to are like, I want to do a YouTube channel, but I need a GoPro, and I need this, and I need that, and I need that, and you're looking at like $5,000 in equipment and software and all this bullshit before the guy could shoot a video of him like chasing a butterfly or whatever the hell he's gonna do. I don't know.
I think a lot of people think they can just throw money at it
Yeah.
and become successful.
Yeah.
That's not the case. I've seen people try to throw money. They get it into their head. I'm gonna have a channel, and they throw money, trying to get the best equipment and stuff. And if you don't have the skill and you don't have the patience and the persistence, the time, that you're willing to put into it, you're not gonna succeed.
We should have opened this up with the Rocky music. We're like, dun, 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 dun. Hey, I want you to show off your editing skills and take pictures of your different cameras and the equipment you have.
I could do that.
I think that would be cool with this, so then the audience actually has something visual.
Maybe I'll make a video out of that someday.
Yeah, that would be cool, because then I think that could complement this, saying, this is my original camera, the PT Cruiser, because I remember it vaguely, and then just show your different phones and your cameras and your equipment.
One fun fact about the Rocky music, I learned this on on a Simpsons commentary.
Okay.
That first part of the song with the trumpets.
Yeah.
That actually is fair use, because it's part of an old like procession, like royal procession or something. Like it's an ancient fanfare, Whereas the rest of the song, where it's like da 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 da, that part is they had to pay for. So they were able to do the first 5 seconds with that recognizable fanfare, but for the rest of the song they had to use like a sound-alike song.
Nice. Interesting. Well,
you can learn a lot watching Simpsons commentaries.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So here's another video one I have. On average, how long does it take you to put out a video? Like for editing, for doing everything from start to finish? Does it vary video by video? Do you have like a couple hours, an hour? What do you think with everything?
It varies a lot. It varies a lot. And it can vary from like basically just kind of point and shoot and upload and type in the name and that's it, to some of the more involved stuff, like the Tiny Toon anniversary, the date of the anniversary in that Tiny Toon video.
That's a lot of editing.
That was kind of involved. I could think of some other ones.
Okay.
If you accidentally like say the wrong thing and you have to edit that out. Sometimes it's worth doing that. Sometimes it's worth just shooting the video over. But
you've had to do a lot of those with me.
Yeah.
Let's make a fourth of our videos.
But yeah, it varies a lot. I mean, it can vary anywhere from like, I would say like a minute to an hour.
So that brings another point up that interests me. A lot of these guys are like, I have to have the best internet connection. Do you upload with your cellular data, or do you just go to places that have free Wi-Fi? How do you upload your videos?
These days, it's mostly cellular data.
Wow.
Because there aren't as many places open right now with Wi-Fi.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's always been kind of both.
But you don't even have home internet. And see, that's another thing.
Well, I do through my phone.
Yeah,
but
you don't have
through
like
a
line connection.
Not through a router
like
or anything like that.
Just have one phone. That's
Yeah.
how you upload everything.
Yeah. It works pretty well though. I'm surprised that more people don't do it.
Yeah. But a lot of times people have families and they have all these games and all this other crap that they're using their internet for,
Yeah.
But that was something else that was like, I was kind of inspired by that you don't let, like, because sometimes people are like, well, my internet connection, because like I haven't shot a video in like a week, or I haven't even uploaded it, because my upload speed was garbage. It's taking like 40 minutes to upload a 1 minute video. And so then I'm like, shit, and then I had other stuff going on. And
yeah, mine's pretty good. Like I shot actually like about a 10-minute video last night, and I was able to upload it in about that much time.
Wow, man. You know what you should do? Do a referral for what, T-Mobile?
Yeah.
Is that who you can see your phone service through? You basically have unlimited data.
Yeah.
So, well, that's cool. So, okay, well, that's it for questions, and have a great day, folks. No, I'm kidding, I got more. Who is the most inspirational person to you?
That's a tough one.
We can circle back to it, too, if you want. Give you some time to think about it.
Oh, you're gonna be a circle back Sally, huh?
Oh, well, do it now, asshole. Do it now. There's no going back.
Yeah.
If you want to, you know.
So you heard that's like this. You've heard of the whole circle back Sally thing, right?
No.
I think it's what they call what they're calling Biden's press secretary, the chick with the red hair.
Oh, her name's Sally.
I think it is. Yeah, circle back Sally.
Yeah.
I remember people referring to her as circle back Sally, but because she won't answer questions, she's always like, I'm going to circle back to that, then never circles back.
That's all politicians, though. You have circular answers, and you always say mistakes were made. You never own up to any errors that happen. Ownership of issues is horrible if you're in a leadership position or if you're in an elected official or something. You never take ownership. Just remember that, kids. That's really important. Because always say mistakes were made, but never admit that you were the person who made the mistakes or throw anybody else under the bus.
Whereas I actually kind of believe the opposite. I have a lot of respect for people who hold themselves accountable. You know, like if somebody actually is willing to say, like, I made this mistake, I was wrong about this, you know, because I think we've all had enough of that. I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of, like, say, like Trump, you know, like he would never, like, admit when he was wrong, even when he was clearly wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there were some good things about him, but one thing that I couldn't stand about him and a lot of other politicians is that they never held themselves accountable. So I actually have more respect for people who hold themselves accountable. So I'm inspired by that.
There you go. That's our inspiration.
But no, I mean, it's hard because I used to do a lot more hero worshiping when I was younger than I do now, because especially in the last few years, I mean, wouldn't you say that a lot of people that you respected, like, say, 10 years ago, have kind of become a lot less respectable now?
I still like Mr. Rogers and his happy little neighborhood. So I would still put him pretty high up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I still respect, that I like, but I respect them from an intellectual thing. I don't know. Like, I still like Richard Stallman. He was a big deal in Linux, and the Me Too people wanted to crucify him. But I still respect the guy.
Yeah.
Now they're going to cancel my channel and take me out back, and I'll be shot. So
yeah,
just for speaking my mind. I like people who advocate free speech.
Well, see, that's a big thing for me, and I think a lot of people have actually, who you would think would be very free speech promoting type people, have actually gone the other way.
Yeah.
They've become regressive. And so it's kind of made me wary about, like, looking up to anyone, or being, you know how they say never meet your heroes?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, even LeVar Burton said something about how, like, people who get canceled deserve to be canceled and things like that.
Wow.
And it's like, dude, you're LeVar Burton. You're the Reading Rainbow guy. You're the guy from Star Trek. You're supposed to be out there promoting freedom of speech and, like, freedom and open.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the older you get, the more you see people either let you down, or you find out that they weren't ever so great in the first place. I mean, there are plenty of people who have done stuff that have, you know, I guess people who have survived horrible things, like horrible ordeals.
Okay.
That's inspiring. You know, Anthony Hopkins in The Edge, you know, I mean, he killed a bear. You know, doesn't get much more inspirational than that.
Yeah. He did what the one douchebag guy couldn't do.
Yeah. The guy whose career went out with a bang.
Sure.
Well, the other guy in The Edge.
Oh, no, yeah.
Baldwin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I'm convinced that movie was a documentary and not a film. Anthony Hopkins really killed that bear.
Quid pro quo.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anyone right now, but I mean, yeah, I mean,
circle back, Sally.
There are people who have, you know, like the woman who created the first animated film pretty much single-handedly. Like, she was the first person to. I've always found her, creatively speaking, very inspirational. Okay. I mean, I guess, like, if you want to talk about, like, creative influences, the creators of The Simpsons would be a big one. Shel Silverstein, Robert Cormier, the young adult novelist, he was really great. I've been creatively inspired by a lot of people.
Okay, I should have really refined the question, but that's good. We really covered a lot of ground there.
Yeah.
What is the best comment you've received on your channel?
This was one of the questions you asked that I was really glad you asked.
Okay.
And it's my favorite comments are the ones when people say thank you so much for making this video.
Huh.
And it's mostly when I make a video of something that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Like I have a series of like music boxes because I have a music box collection, and very often that's probably the most common one I'll get where they say, you know, like my grandmother had this music box and I haven't heard it play in like decades, you know, and hearing this takes me back to when I would stay at her house.
Wow.
And you know, like oftentimes they can't find that music box, or they, you know, it's just, or they don't know how to go about, you know, buying one. Every once in a while I've actually commented and said I see one on eBay for like $10, you know, and not in a snarky way, but just to help them. It's like, man, if you want one so much, I'll point you right in that direction.
Well, you know what you should do? This is what I would do if I was running that and I'm getting views and stuff. I would just buy it off eBay and mark it up and sell it again. You could have a Captain Unusual music box collection, and then you could be like, yes, for $19.95 you can get this plus shipping and handling.
Yeah. Well, I know what it's like to be in the position of like, you know, wanting to get something that, you know, wanting to replace something that I used to have. So I wouldn't want to gouge people like that.
You're not gouging people. You're creating a good business opportunity. Gouging would be charging $100 and controlling the market. You're just a middleman that helps facilitate. You're like,
as in other words, gouging. Yeah. But
yeah, you sound like some Marxist dude, man.
No, I'm not.
You don't want to profit. You make great shirts. You don't want to sell them on Etsy.
I've tried selling stuff on Etsy. It's not as easy as you think, man.
Okay. We'll have to do question and answers about Etsy sometime then.
Yeah, but anyway, I really appreciate those comments, and the Teddy Ruxpin videos. I'm really proud of those because, you know, here I bought this working Teddy Ruxpin for, you know, I mean, it was not cheap, but I bought it just before it hit the 25-year mark. So or actually I think it was the 30-year mark. Okay. So I hit it just before, you know, kind of that price hike when something reaches that level of antique, you know.
Don't you have a couple of them or just one?
Just the one working one. Oh, okay. But and the other ones were the childhood ones that I got rid of. But yeah, I had people reach out to me and say, you know, I had one of those and it broke 20 years ago, and you know, it's so great to be able to see it working and to be able to watch this video and actually like share it with my kids and stuff, you know. So that means a lot to me, you know. And the only reason I was able to get that toy is because somebody didn't gouge me on it, you see.
Okay.
Yeah, see, so that person probably could have charged me twice as much, but
would you have paid it?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
At that level, no. But I probably the best comment I ever got was the Chuck E. Cheese video. When I shot a footage of Chuck E. Cheese the night that it closed. And this would have been, I think, around 2015, and it was my first video to hit 5 digits.
Nice. Like
over 10,000 views.
Okay.
And this girl reached out to me on Facebook. This was back when I still had a Facebook.
Yeah.
And she said she worked there. She was there that night.
Okay.
She's actually in the video, I guess.
Oh, wow.
But she said, it means so much to me that you made this video because I really loved working there. I had a great time working there. I really liked the people. I really liked my coworkers. And to be able to see this place the way it was and see the other people, like my coworkers in this video, and see everybody there, you know, it's wonderful to be able to have this video to look back on. And the fact that she actually reached out to send me a personal message,
yeah, that
was really something, you know, like not just commenting on the video itself, but actually reaching out and sending me a personal message, you know.
Wow, yeah.
So that's probably the best comment I ever got.
Yeah, it's hard to top that. And it's interesting because for both of us, there's a fair amount of sentimental history and value to that particular place. And they pretty much just cleared it out and turned it into another mediocre strip mall, you know, for what that building was.
I think that actual unit is like in all of these now.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
A German grocery store.
Yeah. Although I actually visited that plaza,
Yeah.
that Kmart Plaza tonight.
Oh yeah. They got a cool video game store.
Yeah.
That's the only original tenant out of all of them.
Yeah, they've been there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that shop, but I had some memories there. I remember one of my favorite memories is this guy. He had his birthday party there, and he kicked Chuck E. Cheese in the balls.
Oh God.
Like when we were like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Or something. And Chuck E. Cheese, I think, was a woman, but just couldn't say anything, but waved their finger like
Yeah.
You know.
I remember my favorite thing about that place was the animatronics.
Oh yeah, you love animatronics, dude.
Yeah, and I remember when I was little, I think it was at a birthday party I was at, that they suddenly stopped working.
Oh.
And the lights went out, and I don't know if I'm just imagining this or if it's a real memory, but I remember like sparks flying out of the Chuck E. Cheese and like the kids screaming and everything. I may be exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do remember them all stopping all of a sudden, and the kids like acting like really confused and scared, like what happened, you know?
When was this? Like, were you under 5 or under 10? Or
Definitely under 10.
Okay.
Probably like under 6.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what happened. And then all of a sudden it started playing again, and it had the Russian anthem. It's like da na 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 do 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 do.
Yeah. Well, that would have been like right at the end of the Cold War.
I know.
So
like got hacked into.
Yeah.
We feed you the pizza.
Yeah.
You know.
But can you imagine the maintenance on those things?
Yeah. That's why nobody has them anymore. I mean, why would you give something like that for free when you can just put a TV up or just have like an arcade where you just put quarters in?
And I was really glad I was able to capture that in the video. I didn't spend a whole lot of time capturing the actual but I think I shot another one in. It was either in Davenport or in Des Moines, West Des Moines, where I shot another one of the animatronic characters.
They're all shut down. Are they still open? Can we go to a Chuck E. Cheese in this state?
I think the one in West Des Moines is still there. I think the one up in Cedar Falls might still be there.
Wow. So yeah, that'd be a fun trip to go to sometime.
Yeah, and it's something. Yeah, and it's something I intend to do. I actually was talking to someone just the other day about how I really need to check those places out while they're still there.
Well, do you even know if the animatronics are still there?
Yeah.
Could they just have put a digital? I mean, you could just put a holographic one.
I remember one of them. I think it might have been the Cedar Falls one. Had like just one, and it was just Chucky. And it was like a weird looking one with a big head and stuff. It was like an anime looking Chucky.
You eat your pizza now.
Okay, now, okay. I think that's time. I think that means it's time for the next question.
Okay. What was the worst comment you ever received?
Well, I didn't like when that guy made fun of your shorts. That was mean. In the ball bouncing video, which is right now my highest viewed video.
Wow, that's a plug for your one, and then you just wanted to give me a shut up. So you're talking about ball bouncing and shorts.
Well, I thought it was mean, you know. I mean, like they said something about how the shorts were too small for you, and like, you know, it's like that's just your style, man.
Yeah, just can't stand a man in shorts.
I think they're just short shaming you.
Yeah, short shaming my long legs.
Yeah, it's like. Let's see. Worst comment. I did receive a comment once. Somebody was in. It was a video I was shooting in public, and somebody spotted somebody in the video and like started saying a bunch of things about this person, like, oh, this person, that, and tried to stir up drama. You know, and it's like I deleted that comment. I generally don't like to delete comments, but I was like, I'm not gonna be party to this.
Have you got any death threats?
No.
See, you're not making enough YouTube videos until you get the death threats. That's when
I did get people reaching out. Do you really want to invite that stuff on me, dude? Like, you're saying like, oh well, okay, I'm not a real fan unless I elevate Captain Unusual to the level where he gets death threats. It's like, put that idea in people's head.
Well, we edit this out, dude. You got the editing tool.
Okay, well,
I'll let you edit it.
I have had people like when I had Facebook. I did have this guy, this one guy reach out to me, and it was kind of awkward. And it was about the Chuck E. Cheese video, and it was just kind of uncomfortable.
Well, that sounds fucked up.
I think he had some issue. I don't think he was dangerous. I think he just had some issues, and he was like a certain person we know. you know, a certain somebody we know who's a little bit off, not dangerous, but just a little bit off.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, I don't know when I get bad comments, and I think that was another one of your questions is like, how do I handle bad comments? Yeah. And the way I usually handle them is just by being as diplomatic and polite as possible.
Yeah, because I respect you for not deleting stuff.
Yeah, like basically, like if somebody says, "Oh, it's stupid," blah blah blah, I usually comment and I say, "Hello, so and so. Thanks for the comment."
Yeah.
And then I tell them like basically my side of it is like, this is why I did this way and stuff. And when you respond to people like that, it kind of reminds them that they're actually like, they're not just sending a comment out into the abyss. Somebody is at like, when they find out, oh crap, he's actually going to respond to this.
Yeah.
That kind of shuts them up.
Well, yeah, I've had fun with some of yours because I'm like, sir, I find it offensive, sir.
Yeah.
And do that. You know, I might tone it down, sir.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just, because, yeah, the automated stuff might find it. They don't like all the sirs that I use because that's too gender specific, I guess, for YouTube.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
I just have to get my sirs in. Okay, so those are my comments stuff. When you first started this, were you embarrassed to tell people you shot YouTube videos? Were you like, oh, I have a YouTube channel and I shoot YouTube videos?
I promoted the crap out of it.
Huh, okay. So you were very much like, okay.
Yeah, all over my Facebook. And one thing that I noticed was that you'll get the most support from total strangers. Like you won't get all that.
Wow.
You won't get as, you know, like from actual friends and family. And most artists will tell you this.
Okay.
Like, or business, not just artists, but business people.
Yeah.
You start a new business and you promote it and you try to get people to support you. The most support you'll probably get are from strangers and non-family. Because, and I don't know why that is. I think that some of it has to do with kind of jealousy and kind of wanting to kind of quote, put you in your place.
Oh, wow.
Like, so it's like, oh, you know, he's getting these big ideas about how he's going to have a YouTube channel. We need to kind of, you know.
Look at Mr. Fancy Pants over there
you think
with his 1,000 subs and all that. He thinks he's hot shit. He ain't nothing. He ain't nothing.
You think you're better than me? You know, that kind of thing. And it's easier to do that when you only have like 100, 200 subs. Yeah. But now that I do have like over 1,000, and I have people reaching out to me now, you know, some of those same people reaching out and now like acknowledging and saying, hey, can you help me? You know, I've inspired a certain number of people, friends and acquaintances to start their own channels, you know. And so it took a while, but then they're finally like, oh, wow, well, I guess that there is something to this. And if he can do it, I can do it, which is not often the case.
Oh, yeah. You've seen the great videos I do. It's mostly the crap I have in the content of my video.
Well, I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about like other people. Yeah. You know, I mean, I you know, I wouldn't insult you to your face.
Oh, thanks. Just behind my back. Okay, let me see here. I got another one. What is one falsehood you've said in one of your videos? And I can think of a couple, but I figure I'll let you do that.
Honestly, nothing that I know of. Like, I think in our beverage rants videos, we kind of played sort of fast and loose with the facts.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. It's probably good we took those down in hindsight, looking at some of the stuff we said.
There's the America Building video, which that whole thing was probably kind of less than accurate. You know,
there was a certain video about a certain day in September that
September.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. I'm not going to say
that one never even saw the light of day.
No, that never even got published because it was so,
Yeah. And I even deleted it just to be on the safe side. I still have it saved on my hard drive.
And I'll just say you have a certain rock and mineral video.
There's nothing false in that video.
It was controversial.
No, well, it was, but every video that gets that many views is controversial.
Okay. Like the controversy, if it bleeds, it leads.
The ball bouncing video is just as actually, if anything, more controversial.
They're like, this guy doesn't even know how to drop a ball.
Yeah, they're like, saying like, you're supposed to throw them as hard as you can. It's like, well, how do you measure that?
How do you measure? You just.
And also, I don't think that's true. I think that it's proportional. Yeah. Whether you drop them or throw them hard, I don't think it makes a difference, really. I mean, I don't know all the physics of that, but I honestly don't think it makes a difference. But no, the turquoise video. The only reason I took that video down, everything in it is accurate. I say the test is not definitive. It's just one test. It's you don't want to count on it.
Yeah.
But because turquoise is so expensive, and there are so many people around the world who might be willing to be violent, and they buy turquoise, and if they take what I say as gospel, and especially if they're not paying close attention to what I'm actually saying, maybe
or they don't English is
perhaps English is not their first language.
Yeah.
Then they might get mad and decide to come to the United States and blow me up.
Oh, I wonder what group that is.
So I kind of, there's nothing false in that video.
Okay.
It's just that people may not be paying attention, and I started getting kind of antsy about it.
Okay. Well, you were very thorough. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to box you into a corner. Like, I know Baltimore once. I know the skeletons in your closet. You're not hiding
You're a merchant of lies.
Oh, here's a good one for you. Do you enjoy being famous? I know you get all the women and you get so much action and so many people chasing after you and autograph opportunities and that.
Yep. So much.
Yeah, we can't say it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Starts with a P and ends with a Y.
Yeah. I kind of enjoy, I watched this documentary. It's one of my favorite, probably in my top 10 favorite documentaries. It's called I Know That Voice.
Huh.
And it's about voice actors. And they talk about how they kind of appreciate being kind of famous in a certain type of way. Like, because they're voice actors, people don't recognize them on the street.
Okay.
Oftentimes, but they have this kind of anonymous fame. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I enjoy being respected by friends and family and people who know me, but then also having the anonymity of and I made a decision when I started like doing location videos when I rebranded the channel as Captain Unusual in about 2015 or so. I came up with this idea to be behind the camera, almost exclusively. There's only a handful of videos where you actually see me, and before that, I actually wanted to be like one of those in front of the camera YouTube personalities, because that's when when you're young and you start a YouTube channel, that's kind of what you think a YouTube channel is. So you kind of you wanted to, that's what everybody kind of wants to be, is like one of those talking head personality types.
Yeah, they want you want your face out there, and you're like, I'm cool, I'm famous. Look at me, look at me.
I remember when I was starting out, a lot of people my age were who were getting into YouTube were inspired by a guy named Zay Frank. He is actually, I think he has a high position now in BuzzFeed, which is kind of crappy.
Yeah, he really fell off the wagon.
Yeah, but he had this channel where he was like talking to the camera, and he was this very charismatic guy, and he made some good videos, and he actually created this community around him. But then he just suddenly kind of abandoned it and went to do BuzzFeed and then do his other, like a different kind of video.
Yeah, I think it's hard though for a lot of those YouTubers to sustain it, because I would say you've been doing it for 10 years, but would you say really the last 5 were active duty? Where you've been really kind of consistently doing content? Or
in like the last 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a period there where I kind of semi gave up when the whole like talking to the camera thing didn't work, like partly because I didn't have the skill or the experience, and partly because it just wasn't the format that I really wanted to do. Like it wasn't the format that I felt like worked best for me. So I was kind of discouraged early on by like not taking off, not like going viral and stuff.
Famous overnight?
Yeah. So I was kind of discouraged by that. So a few years I did kind of just put down the channel and kind of gave up a little bit. But then in the mid 20-teens, I kind of picked back up when I finally kind of decided I found my sort of
niche.
I found my style.
Yeah.
Like I found my certain style, and I found my own voice. That was the problem before, really, was that I didn't have my own voice. I was kind of just trying to imitate others. And finding my own voice was really what did it.
Well, that's cool. Finding your own voice.
Yeah.
That is interesting. There were a couple of things with the fame. You inspired me to not show my face, partially because I have a face for radio and a voice for print. So, if that skill set. But I think it's interesting. That's something we could circle back, Sally, with here. The finding your own voice, because I think when you're younger, this is specific messaging for the teenagers and the people there. It's really hard to find your own individuality and your own voice and your whatever, because you're bombarded with a lot of media and a lot of things that tell you this or that or whatever, and it could be all kinds of different perspectives, from conservative and religious ones to secular and woke ones. But how do you really understand where you are, and how do you really develop your own values, your own voice, your own,
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think I really discovered who I really was until I was about 30 years old.
Wow.
Like, even throughout my 20s, I think I had a lot of uncertainty about my identity and stuff, like who I was,
Do you identify as an Apache attack helicopter?
Sometimes. Most of the time, I identify as a Concorde jet.
Oh, Concorde jet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a 747 stealth.
Yeah.
I'm big and loud, and, you can store a lot.
And I do get mad at people, like, even when they're young, for, like, trying on identities like a costume.
Well, that's the one thing, though, that you and I are a lot different with, because you're like, you use ideas like toys. Yeah. You just play with it, then you put it back. Where to me, ideas are tools.
Well, you know how you and I have a YouTuber we're both aware of who, for the longest time, made a big deal out of the fact that they were asexual. And then all of a sudden, all of those videos disappeared overnight, and it's like, look, it's a medical thing.
Yeah,
you either are or you aren't.
Just playing it up so then people don't hit them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of that kind of thing,
Pisses you off.
Or like when people talk about like appropriation, and I actually kind of, it bothers me too sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the Big Bang Theory, that show was like appropriation of nerd culture.
Yep, I don't even want to talk about Big Bang anymore. Had a lot of bad experiences with it. Just heard it a lot. So next question.
Really? I'm gonna have to hear about that stuff.
Yeah, it's not in this one. What would you like to tell your subscribers?
Let's see.
We can circle back to that too.
Well, I can't tell you to subscribe again. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't be very...
Subscribe and subscribe again, and if you have a couple of fake fraudulent accounts, just subscribe. Just do what you can to load this guy's subs up.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'd have to say is just, thank you. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for finding my work interesting enough to follow, or to want to follow.
Yeah.
Because when I look at my own videos, I mean, I'm proud of what I do, but I can also see somebody looking at them and saying, like not finding them interesting enough to actually want to, I want to follow this guy.
Dislike, unsub.
Because like a lot of my video, a lot of people sub to me because of a specific video that they liked.
Well, you cover a variety of niches.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing, is like to actually, because my videos are so varied, and they're not about any one subject, it's very, it means a lot to me that there are people who are willing to sort of follow me on this kind of journey that I'm taking, where I'm basically just making videos about whatever interests me, and they're willing to come along for the ride. That means a lot to me, because they're not going to be interested in every single thing I cover.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're willing to stay with me and follow me, and kind of just check out whatever I'm into right now. I mean, that's really moving, and I really appreciate it.
Cool.
Especially considering how admittedly amateurish my videos are, I mean, they're not hugely entertaining. I mean, they're not I'm not like an editing master where I can edit my videos together so that they're just utterly hilarious, or they're just, really exciting to watch. I'm kind of more like Mr. Rogers,
Yeah, okay. That's good. I mean, you kind of took the self-hating Scandinavian route. I wasn't expecting that. They're not that good.
It's I appreciate my videos. They're not always that good. That's my really bad Woody Allen impression.
Yeah,
but I'm not always the best, but I appreciate any support you're able to give me. It just means a lot. It's like
That's what the way you were going. I'm like,
That's
that's not at all what I was expecting.
That's Woody Allen, and if Woody Allen and John Travolta had a baby, thank you so much. It's electrifying.
Okay. Next question here. If one thing you could change about YouTube or social media, what would it be?
Everything. I mean, oh God. First of all, free speech.
Yeah.
Ban basically nothing.
Wow. So it'd be like BitChute or whatever. Or...
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what Dave Rubin is doing right now, what Dave Rubin and Rumble are doing right now with locals, they're right now, and they may not be able to maintain this, but right now they're really doing a good job of walking that line, where they do ban the stuff that's really, really offensive, like the stuff that's unacceptable pretty much anywhere.
Like child porn and neo-Nazis, or what actually gets banned?
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're really able to discern what's just somebody speaking their mind. So,
but if I disagree with you, I don't want to hear it. It's my safe space online, and you shouldn't. Your voice should be shut.
Yeah.
That's how social media works. If you're not in their bubble of woke bullshit, we don't want to hear you. You're shunned. You're bad.
Another thing I would do, I would make everyone. I would make it so everyone qualifies for monetization. Anyone who wants to monetize their channel can.
Okay.
Because, I was monetized up until like early 2018.
Wow.
And I wasn't making that much. I was making like $30-$50 a month. But it was good money,
yeah.
and it motivated me to keep making videos, and I was getting the clicks. I was getting the views, I was getting the clicks. So those advertisers were getting exposure because of me. And I don't think that the number of subs that you have should have anything to do with whether you are monetized or not.
So a couple of things I want to say off that was interesting. I got fired from my job right around the same time you lost your monetization. They're like 1,000 subs and all that. And I remember it was really kind of traumatic for both of us. But I remember I talked to you and I'm like, dude, just keep pushing through. And then wasn't it this year, 2021, you hit your 1,000? It was like a 3-year struggle.
Yeah, I projected that it would take somewhere between 2 and 3 years, and that's about what it took.
Okay. So that was interesting. But then also going back to the monetization thing, weren't the ads that were showing like the most like ridiculous ads? I thought it was like Huggies diapers or something.
Well, I didn't like a lot of the ads. Like I was getting political ads on my videos too.
Yeah. Like
political ads for people I couldn't stand. I think I got like Hillary ads on my.
Well, I think honestly, dude, I wouldn't be even mad about getting that because then at least you're profiting off.
Well, no, I don't have anything against making money off of them, but it was kind of uncomfortable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But now, now YouTube actually shows ads on videos that are demonetized.
Yeah.
Because they just don't care about their own rules. So that would be another change I would make is that if you have policies, you have to follow those policies to the letter.
How I would like them done is that they're not corporate owned, that they're owned by their subscribers and that they're owned by the content producers.
Yeah.
So then you have a vested ecosystem that aren't just fat cat profiteers, because I think that the cost of the infrastructure has gone down substantially in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
So that it would be more affordable to have a circular content sustainable system,
Right.
So,
really, I would like to see people use a lot less social media. It's like when you say like how would I change it? I would actually make it a lot less widespread. I wouldn't completely get rid of it, but I would make social media a lot more utilitarian. Like YouTube, I can deal with because YouTube is creative.
Yeah.
You're creating videos. You're creating like content that's creative and useful to people,
When people don't have to log in, you make it very accessible. It's universal. There's not all the bullshit with like Facebook and that. You don't have to I'm going to add you as a friend, then I'm going to follow your shit on your news feed, then I'm going to, it's you see it or you don't see it,
Yeah.
And either you logged in and you can comment, or you just can watch it passively. But it still makes that stuff accessible. Do you have a tattoo?
No, no. I had the chance to get one. On my 18th birthday, I was driving around town with my dad, and we passed by Arbuckle's.
Okay.
And I said, "Hey, maybe I should get a tattoo." And he's like, "Do you want to?" And he would have. He would have like we would have stopped, and he would have let me get a tattoo right then. He would have bought me a tattoo for my birthday.
Wow.
But I didn't do it because I've just never been all that into tattoos.
Do you regret that now? Do you think it would have been cool?
No, I don't regret it. I'm actually glad that I've never gotten a tattoo.
Weren't you going to get it tattooed on your forehead?
What?
Asshole or something?
No.
Oh.
I think that was someone. I think that was my dad that was going to do that. But
yeah, that would have helped. That would have really fast tracked your career, man.
Yeah, but no, I never felt the need to get a tattoo. I'm actually pretty glad that I never did, because I think that I would have gotten. I think most people probably regret their tattoos, but they just don't want to admit it to themselves. You got a tattoo,
yeah.
the semicolon.
Yeah, and I liked it.
Well, I mean, hell, I mean, that tattoo has more meaning now than it had when you first got it. That's what's so scary is about that tattoo, is like because it's an anti-suicide tattoo. And you're like, all these people are just dropping like flies.
Overdoses, suicide, COVID. It's I've had more death in the last year than I've had my whole life.
Yeah.
And then even I was like, oh, hey, a buddy of mine just died last week. And then I was like, oh, another person I knew died a week before.
It's becoming a regular thing.
So yeah, who died this week?
Whole families in some cases.
Oh yeah, 3 brothers died this summer. I went to high school with them. Anyhow, I'm done talking about that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that that tattoo has special meaning for you now, more than even when you got it. And it was a free tattoo too.
It was $50. It was a good deal. But the tattoo artist is actually a junkie, and the cops picked him up with firearms and crazy shit later on. And,
well, now you always have something to remember him by.
I know, and he was weird as shit. You could tell he was all high when he was giving me the tattoo, because he put it on the wrong arm, and it was just really crazy. It was at 1 a.m. when I got it.
For one thing, if I had really nice even toned skin, it'd be one thing. But I have really pale, kind of freckled skin, and I don't know if a tattoo would really look so good.
How's this look?
I can't see it from here. Yeah, I remember that. And then there's that stuff coming out of the comma.
Yeah, it's like birds being set free.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a tattoo nutsack.
Yeah. So, and I actually I mean, tattoos look good on some women, but overall, I actually to me, if a woman doesn't have tattoos, to me, that's actually more rebellious than having tattoos. Yeah. To me, tattoos these days, because they're so mainstream, they're kind of more a symbol of conformity than of actually rebelliousness. So I mean, but then again, listen, I have a great deal of respect for the skill that tattoo artists have. Yeah. I mean, imagine the balls you would have to be able to draw something on somebody's skin and have it be permanent. And the pressure to do a good job,
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I respect the skill of it. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that, going back to my tattoo experience, the guy was a drug dealer that just happened to run a tattoo business. I didn't know it at the time, but then eventually I kind of figured it out, especially when there was a lot of yelling and fighting and stuff when I was waiting for my tattoo.
Well, look at it this way. I think a lot of business owners are drug dealers who just happen to own a business. So, especially if you're talking pawn shops and
pawn shops and tattoo shops. When it's a shady business, it's like the Tony Soprano thing. You're like, everybody who thinks I'm in the waste management business, they think everybody's mobbed up. They're like, I'm in the tattoo business or the pawn shop business. And they think you're doing money laundering or the car wash business. They're thinking you're doing meth stuff. But he's like, yeah. So that's the tattoo. This is gonna be an hour-long audio thing. It's like a podcast almost.
Yeah. Well, that's about what I was expecting. I expected it would be about an hour.
So here's a question for you. What videos are you planning to release next on your channel? Do you have an idea or a theme, or what do you really want to go? Do you just go off the cuff, or do you master plan this stuff, or what are you thinking?
I do have I have a list on my phone. I live by lists.
Okay.
I have like a short term to do list, a long term to do list, a short term goal list, and a long term goal list. And then I also have a list of video ideas. Some of them are series and some of them are one offs.
Okay.
And I do want to put out a series. When I was in Des Moines, the last time I was in Des Moines, I was in Des Moines for 5 days. And I found this toy shop and I bought up a bunch of really cool wind-up toys.
Wow.
And a long-term plan for me is to do a series of those wind-up toys because they're really cool. I bought I think I ended up spending like $100.
Well, that's big money for you, man.
Yeah, I spent like 2 hours at this place picking out all the ones I liked the most and like buying them all up because I was just so like, I was like, they don't have these here. I mean, they have some at that party place by the theater.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the selection that this place had.
So you were
making
it rain with Washingtons.
Yeah. So I was like, so I'd like to make a series of those because I've always, how I like animatronics and wind up stuff and just like I love that kind of stuff. So I also plan on doing a more with gemstones. At some point, I'd like to do like a series with individual gemstones, because the gemstone videos that I've done have been some of the highest viewed. And I'd like to just sort of have them be individual videos, though, where I show like red jasper, chevron amethyst, turquoise, may or may not be turquoise,
So would you be doing those rock ones out of your passion and your love for rocks, or
yes?
Okay.
Well, both, but yeah, I'm one of my main interests is gemology.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we went to Vegas, and that was like one of your favorite things. You're not like gambling it up or whatever. You're going to like.
Well, that was a great place. I've heard it's gone downhill, but I mean, it was all like Native American guys working at that place, and I think it was owned by an old Italian guy. And you remember that old guy?
Kind of.
And we bought the really cool. I bought this really cool piece of multi-chrome jasper, polychrome jasper, and I carry it with me all the time. Like it's kind of almost like my good luck charm.
Oh yeah.
But no. Let's see. I'm gonna do supplement reviews. I actually shot the first one of those last night.
Whoa.
Where I go over different supplements that I take and why I take them.
Any of them just snake oil, or you just feel like they're all legit?
All the ones I take, I feel are legit.
Okay. None of them are suppositories, right?
No, I mean they could be, but probably not the recommended use. Make a bit of a mess. Yeah. But
okay.
Have you ever actually used a suppository?
I'm not going to answer that.
I'll take that as a yes.
I'm not going to answer.
That's a resounding yes.
Yeah, we're not going to go with experiences or whatever about that. So
the funniest thing about that is that when you that means it's definitely a yes. I have. I'm going to put it right on the table.
Yeah,
I have. I've had problems. Okay,
so.
When I was a kid, I had a couple of, issues where things weren't happening and they needed to happen. So.
Name 3 movies that everyone should watch.
Boy. Well, I love. This is such a common answer, but I love Shawshank Redemption. I love The Edge, which you and I are going to watch. And then I told you about Red Rock. Red Rock is a good movie. Boy, Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I mean that's like the best action movie of all time. Yeah. It's 30 years old and it still holds up. Yeah. Like you watch that movie and it's as good as any modern movie right now. Like the special effects and everything hold up perfectly. That's how
it pulls out all the other ones that came after it by like times 10 combined.
Yeah. That's how obsessive James Cameron was. Like in 1991, he was able to make a movie that like just in terms of visuals holds up perfectly well today, 30 years later. Yeah, I like a lot of movies. It sucks when somebody asks me like, "What are your favorite movies?" I kind of tend to draw a blank, but Waking Life was a favorite of mine for a long time.
Who are your favorite directors? Do you have like a top 3 for directors that you like?
Martin Scorsese is up there.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, his earlier work is up there. Darren Aronofsky is good.
What did he direct?
He directed Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And Black Swan and but mostly just kind of his earlier stuff. I'm not a big fan of his later stuff. Boy, directors.
That's funny, dude. I'm just kind of shooting different videos and ideas out there with that. So he covered. I wanted to get it like 3. He did.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna make it a 3-hour video with a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour.
Stanley Kubrick is good.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember who else I really like because there was.
The guy who directed. I don't know if he wrote it, but the guy who wrote, or I don't know if he directed it, but he wrote Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, okay.
And then he also wrote Dragged Across Concrete.
Mm.
I think he might have directed those two, but
okay.
I'm not sure.
Which YouTuber or YouTubers?
I'm sorry. Damn it, who's the Pulp Fiction guy?
Oh, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's a big one. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's good.
Absolutely, he's a big one. The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Great movie. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the Coen brothers. That's who I was going to say. I really like those guys. Do you like them much? Or?
I like them. I even think the Wachowskis are okay. Like, they've made some good stuff. But again, they haven't been as good lately. Like, really, everyone I really like has kind of fallen apart in the last 10 years or so.
Well, I think the 90s was really kind of a peak in cinema. You know?
Yeah. I think the really last good thing that the Wachowskis made was Cloud Atlas. And that was kind of interesting because, they're both trans.
Yeah.
And Cloud Atlas is about reincarnation. And it's interesting because it kind of gives you a window into how they maybe see identity. Like because men become women, women become men in different lifetimes.
Wow.
They become different races. It's very interesting. Like, it kind of gives you a window into like how they might see how fluid identity can be.
Wow, that's pretty insightful, dude.
Yeah.
That made me think about Buffalo Bill and Hannibal Lecter too.
Okay.
But what was I going to say with that? Yeah, I mean that is interesting. You would have thought they would have written it or something. I honestly have never watched that movie. I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
We should watch it sometime.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty good. I saw it in the theater. It's one of the one of the last movies I saw in the theater.
What way you can see it in the theater?
Friends and a couple of I saw it with a couple of friends. Yeah, most of the time it was because like some friends wanted to go, and so I tagged along. And the only movie that I ever went to see like on my own of my own volition, besides Joker, there was Joker recently, and then there was Avatar. I wanted to see Avatar, so
you see it in 3D and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew that like if I'm ever going to see this movie, I have to see it in 3D.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes it worth it. It's not so much a movie as it is a showcase of this technology. Okay. So I wanted to go and see it, and I didn't have anyone at the time to take with me to it, so I just saw it on my own. And then I went and saw Joker a couple of years ago on my own. Oh. And that was fun because it was just me and one other guy in the theater. We had the whole place to ourselves.
I liked The King of Comedy. I watched that lately. That was really good.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, I saw that, and that was really good. I love pretty much anything Martin Scorsese does.
Yeah, that's a good one.
King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, I heard, were really, and I've seen Taxi Driver, influential things for the Joker movie.
They were, and when I saw King of Comedy, it kind of made me think a little bit less of Joker. Because it's like, oh wow, they took a lot from this movie.
Yeah.
Like a lot. It's almost plagiarism.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, but it's not really because I think Scorsese produced Joker, so
yeah.
So
he's making money off that.
So he's making money off of like kind of a remake of his own.
But it was a lot better than, like, I would say Heath Ledger by far is like the best Joker that you could have, and then that Jared Leto guy. I like Jared Leto, but he sucked at the Joker. I didn't even watch that movie.
He was the Hot Topic Joker.
Oh,
that's what everybody says. Like he's the Joker that works at Hot Topic.
Wow.
Because he has all these stupid little tattoos everywhere, and he just looks cheesy.
Well, he looked doped up. He just, and not even like in a cool way. Like the Heath Ledger Joker was like, "Don't fuck with me. I don't care. I'm a dog chasing a tailpipe."
I think he was the closest Joker to the comics.
Yeah, yeah.
And the graphic novels. He came the closest to that. So.
Well, he's had this badass thing to him. Where the Joker, the movie Joker, really kind of put a good backstory on how the Joker became the Joker.
Yeah. Well, what I liked about it, it was almost like kind of a standalone thing.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like, okay, you see kind of one, because the thing about the Joker is like he almost like he keeps his origin story kind of murky.
Yeah.
Like the only origin story that's considered like that's considered the closest to being accurate is the Alan Moore comic, the Killing Joke. Um, but even that one is like unreliable. Like, he even says in it, I remember it one way one day and a different way another day.
Yeah.
It's like, so you don't know for sure. So the great thing about Joker is that it can kind of be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But it does kind of, it does seem like it, it could,
Oh.
it could be, but yeah, what's your next question?
Well, actually, that going back to Joker, I like the director Todd Phillips. He directed the Hangover series, and he got started directing G.G. Allen's documentary.
Ah,
So he's an interesting guy. Okay. Well, let me get back to the note here. Which YouTuber do you follow the most, or YouTubers? What would be like your top three again?
Wang is a big one. Justin Wang, Whang.
Okay.
He's this guy. He's in a band. He still tours. He's probably about my age.
Okay.
I think he's Japanese in ancestry, but he has long hair and a goatee, and he does a lot of internet history type videos, and he does like kind of lost media episodes where he's like, can you identify this song, or can you identify, so he does a lot of, and he reviews horror movies, which I'm not really that into horror movies, but he makes it entertaining when he does it. He makes a lot of Simpsons references, which I really appreciate. Yeah. Like he's like, I think it's because he's older. He kind of sticks to the, not so much the Family Guy references, but the Simpsons references. Like in almost all of his videos, I think he references the Simpsons at least once. He did a really cool one about the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode, where he makes the case that it turns out it was really just an animation mistake. But there's one scene where it looks like it's not actually Krusty, but Homer dressed up as Krusty. And that led to a theory that like Homer was disguising himself as Krusty because he had just killed Mr. Burns and he was trying to hide or something like that. And it turned out it was just an animation mistake, which they made all the time on The Simpsons. But it was it was a good video. It was a good kind of Simpsons themed video. So I appreciated that. So Wang is one. The Curiosity Show, which is actually an old Australian science show from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But it was on for so long that they have endless content to publish. Huh. So they're publishing that show on YouTube, video by video, like 5 minutes at a time.
Interesting.
And those are really cool. I mean, those guys were like the Bill Nyes of the 80s in Australia.
But don't they encourage you to do it at home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like these really wacky things.
Oh, and one of the favorite memes I've ever made, I produced a meme where the guy says, like, for this experiment, you'll need a sharp piece of glass, some sulfuric acid, a blowtorch, and some plasticine. Because they always talk about plasticine,
What the hell is plasticine?
It's kind of like Play-Doh.
Oh, okay.
It's like this, flexible plastic that it's like molding clay, kind of.
Yeah.
For like if you need to make like a temporary structure or something. But so he's a big one. The Critical Drinker is a good one. He basically reviews movies and TV shows and basically talks about how crappy they are. And he's a Scottish guy and he's really good. I agree with him almost everything he says. He also reviews older movies and says like basically why they're good, why they're classics.
Yeah.
But he also reviews newer movies and says he just recently reviewed the new Ghostbusters movie.
Oh.
And he basically said it's a pretty mixed bag.
Yeah.
So I really like him. Yeah, I mean those are kind of some of the big ones right now.
Okay. So, let me see here. Name three things.
Oh, Dave Rubin. I got to mention Dave Rubin. He's a good one too. He's another one. I agree with just about everything he says, but
it's always good to have an echo chamber where you only listen to people that you agree with.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with him on everything. I don't like he's BFFs with Jordan Peterson, and I don't like Jordan Peterson.
Oh, you don't?
Not really. No, I think he's an arrogant kind of lunatic. He's and a lot of people are going to hear that and not like it, but he says a lot of things that I think are just bonkers. I respect the stands that he's made for free speech.
Yeah.
But I don't. But he wrote this book on basically how to live your life, and this guy seems barely unable to handle his own life. So it's just kind of he has mental problems, mental health issues, and stuff. It's like I don't know if I necessarily want to follow your advice when you're having mental breakdowns all the time.
Did his wife leave him?
She got ill. She had cancer or something. But
what about Ben Shapiro now?
I like him. I enjoy his videos. I'm not subscribed to him.
Okay.
But every once in a while he'll show up in my recommended and I'll watch his videos. And I enjoy him. Yeah. I'm not sub to him though.
Well, he really thinks you're a deviant if you're not married by 25.
I know.
And his wife's a doctor.
Yeah. Yep. My wife's a doctor. And yep. Yeah. And did I mention she's a doctor? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's way too socially conservative for me. But yeah, I enjoy his perspective.
Cool. Well, I'm going to move on to the next question, unless you have more to add with your YouTuber buddies.
Oh, say again?
I'm going to move on to the next question.
Oh, okay, yeah, next question.
Unless you have more to add with your YouTuber buddies.
I may think of more as we're going on. So if I interrupt you, don't get offended. But because I do feel a lot of them deserve the credit where it's due because I'm really picky about, so the people I sub to, I'm only sub to about 100 people or less.
I know. You treat it like this sacred thing, right? I'm pretty much, they have a pulse and they did one mediocre video, sub, and...
Yeah.
But I trashed a number. I have a couple of accounts because one of them I just trashed. This is a pro tip. Clear out your watch later list. I hit 5,000, and it's a pain. Once you're at 5,000, you're kind of fucked. You can't really add more to watch later.
Yeah.
And you got to clear it out. So I've been working on that with my new account that I'm in.
Yeah, I've cleared out mine, and I keep it pretty tidy. I think I only have 5 videos on there now.
And I also want to thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, Captain. That was quite the honor. I'm one of your 100 subs.
Yeah, I love the channel Deviant Historian. It's the best channel.
Yeah. He knows what he's getting. It's Wealthplex. There's no active channel for the Deviant Historian.
Yeah.
He's just, he always wants... plugging that in.
And I'm also subscribed to the other one that you probably don't want mentioned.
Yeah, if you mention that one, I'll throw your phone. So
yeah,
we're not going to be doing recording, and then we're not doxing each other.
I did comment on the video that originated that character.
Huh? I'll need to look at that. Send me the link to that.
I said that guy's a real deviant.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I know.
And I'm subscribed to that channel too, even though it only has 2 videos.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about. So anyhow, I think we're gonna move on.
A lot of the channels I'm sub to are kind of dead channels.
Which to me I don't get. You should just have Dead Captain. Set up another sub account and just sub to your dead accounts there, and then the active ones that you get life enriching content from. Sub there. I know a guy who you really want to help get to 100,000 subs. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm subbed to Stobe the Hobo.
What? The guy who's been dead for
that's a dead channel. That's about as dead as you can get.
But I would plug Stobe. I love that guy. His cinematography, and we got in a whole discussion. You're like, the guy doesn't make much sense. I'm like, the guy is drunk, dude. He's like, look at those cars over there. There's a lot of lights.
Yeah.
He was a true, authentic hobo. He lived his values.
He's like, I'm going to go over to the gas station to get some fried chicken and a 6-pack.
And he was just drunk. He was
his entire life. That was his entire life. Was
booze and chicken.
Going to get the fried chicken and a 6-pack. Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just cool that he authentically lived on the rails and talking about finding your own voice. The guy really did. I mean, his music was good. I think he did a good job editing those videos together.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed watching them. And this is for you, Stobe.
Well, and he put out a ton of content.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like it would take probably a year to watch it all.
I think about.
I mean, it depends on how badly you binge on it.
Yeah,
but if you have a life and have sex and stuff like that, then it might take you a year.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't have a video here. I'm sending the captain some really cryptic messages about. I watched. I'm not going to say how long it took me to watch it, but I think I watched it over a couple of months part time. But I would watch. There's a lot of ways it's been edited, and I watched. I liked it. I liked the audio. Yeah, and I like the imagery of it. And we're done with the YouTube shit. This is just going to keep escalating. Talking about other YouTubers. So
okay, so what's your next question?
Oh, you're gonna love this one. Name 3 things that you always notice in the opposite sex.
Well, you remember how you always said that you're into the 3 B's.
Yeah.
Is
that the same thing for you?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to explain what those 3 B's are? Or?
Well, you always said boobs, butts, and brains.
Yeah.
Now with me, I'm not saying that reflects me, but see, I'm kind of doing the Norm Macdonald thing, where I'm kind of like, I say something and then I completely backtrack on it in the next sentence. By the way, he's another one. He's another, he's a podcaster more. He's passed away recently. More of a podcaster than a YouTuber, but there's a YouTube channel dedicated to his podcast, and it's really funny.
Cool.
So in a way, he's a really good unintentional YouTuber.
What do you think of Joe Rogan?
He's okay. I feel like I don't know. He's not one of my favorites.
Where I like Bill Maher a lot. I know you and I are like 2 totally different.
I like him. I think he tries to walk the line a little too much between mainstream and he still donates money to Democrats, even though he's obviously not a Democrat anymore. Yeah. He's clearly libertarian-ish. Yeah. Yeah. I think he needs to discover who he really is. I think he needs to admit that he's not a Democrat anymore.
He needs to find his voice.
Yeah. So
circling back to.
Yeah. What do I write? Well, I mean, obviously appearance matters. There's no doubt about that. I really like redheads. I've always been a fan of brown eyes.
Okay.
Something about brown eyes that really, really get to me. I mean, when they say what are the things you first notice, I'm assuming that this is at first sight. Yeah. So it's before you even talk to them, right? Yeah. Voice is important. I like women with nice voices, charming voices, because a lot of women these days kind of talk in sort of that Valley Girl type of voice where it's kind of like this, kind of like da-da-da-da, it's kind of
oh
my god, like California upspeak type, surfer girl type, or Valley Girl type talk. That's kind of spread across the country. Even women in their 30s and 40s, they just it's kind of nasally and kind of like this, kind of like that, I really like women who have very classy musical. I always wanted to date a woman with either a very classy Southern accent, sort of a Southern Belle type accent, or Russian accent. Oh. I always found Russian accents sexy.
I milk your balls now before.
That's a little too. That sounds a bit too much like Helga or something.
So maybe not that accent.
Yeah. Let's just say I'm looking for the Natasha to my Boris.
Oh wow, there you go.
So, but yeah, I mean, I like, I definitely like women who are able to stay in good shape.
Okay.
It's respectable. It's not even so much about how they look. It's just the personality that goes with it, the sense of discipline and stuff.
You hit the gym almost every day, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And there was one girl who was just, and I never talked to her or anything like that. Yeah. But she was just incredible. And apparently somebody I knew her and actually told me she was ex-military. It didn't surprise me at all. Yeah. It's that makes perfect sense because she is fit.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you guys, if she sees you, did she think you worked there or something? Or there's a number of women that think you worked
there were people there who thought I worked there because I had the neck chain or the necklace to my key thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, everyone should wear one of those though, because
A lanyard?
huh?
A lanyard? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, it's like the key, the scan key thing that lets you
Oh,
in,
yeah.
and then it's like the neck thing.
Yeah, it's a lanyard.
Yeah, the lanyard. Yeah,
Okay.
and because I was just sitting there with my laptop in between machines, they maybe assumed that I was kind of like working security, sort of.
Yeah.
Like they thought that I was there just keeping an eye on things. I was like the night watch person,
Yeah.
kind of. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like women. I tend to like because I'm in the Midwest and it's mostly kind of Northern European people here.
Yeah.
I tend to be like, it tends to stick out when like I see a woman who is kind of Mediterranean.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like any woman whose ancestors came from like within about 500 miles of the Mediterranean in any direction, they tend to all be pretty attractive.
Mediterranean babes, if you're listening, here's your man.
Totally. Yeah.
He's a famous multimedia artist, and yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just in terms of just utterly shallow, like looks and, like painting me as just like the ultimate sexist, I guess that's what I see when it comes to just like first sight.
Okay.
Now, if you're talking about personality, I mean, I did mention the voice.
Yeah.
But, I like women with a good sense of humor, not easily offended or, like easygoing.
You like a big rack on him?
Respectful. It depends. Not so much, honestly, because that tends not to age well. But I mean, in the short term, I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm okay with not, because that tends to hold up better, if you know what I mean. But,
yeah. So you want to keep.
But it's all about what's in her heart.
Okay. Do you want to keep digging a bigger hole here, or do you want to move on to the next topic?
Well, let's keep going.
Next topic?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you more of an artistic or a mathematical person?
I would say I'm equal parts both. That's something that all my life I've known.
Huh.
In kindergarten, they you know how they do those things where they put your picture on a piece of construction paper, and then they say who you are. I like pizza, and my favorite part of school is lunch
or recess.
And when I grow up, I want to be this. And I said that I am half inventor and half artist. And I feel like that even back then, I really understood myself really well in that sense. I understood that I have a left brain and a right brain nature, and they're kind of equal. And then when I did college for kids, which was like a summer school type thing for gifted students, there was one class one course thing where you took a lot of personality tests.
Oh, okay.
And it was to test to see if you were left-brained or right-brained.
Yeah.
Almost everyone in the class was dominant one way or the other. Mm-hmm. I was pretty much split right down the middle.
Wow.
And further tests that I've taken, like the Myers-Briggs and other ones, they really kind of come out that way. I have very much a creative side, but I also have a very analytical side, and those two things are kind of equally balanced. And that's why, even though I consider myself an artist, I don't always get along with other artists, because I have kind of that engineer side to me.
Too much logic and reasoning.
Yeah, I have a lot of logic and reasoning, but then the engineers also maybe come across as a little too dry for me, because I do also have that creative side.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to like really make new friends, basically.
You're like an architect, though, because that's kind of the skills of an architect.
And I have a great appreciation for architecture.
Yeah.
Particularly like Victorian and early 20th century Art Deco. I also really like some of the office buildings that were built in like the 70s and 80s, because some of those have like they were eco buildings, so they were built so that they have these big south-facing windows, so that you can see right into the entire building on both floors. And they're brick buildings, and they're kind of like, someday I'll point those out to you. Like there are a couple of those on Mount Vernon Road that are really cool. But
you're an INTJ, right?
INTJ, yep. Yeah. Myers-Briggs type. And INTJs, that's their nature. They are the N stands for intuitive. So I have a very intuitive side, but I'm also the T, which stands for thinking over feeling.
So remember, we were at an art place, an open mic that no longer is open anymore, and I helped with some art things there, and then this woman's like, well, wasn't she saying her friend's an artist?
An art major, yeah.
And it was something I don't remember the context of it. I just remember it was really funny because you were like, well, what's her art? Well, she's an art major or something. I don't.
Well, it's like, so what, kind of. Like, she made something, like you were passing around hats or something.
Aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil, and she made something out of it, like some kind of origami or something. And I said, wow, that's cool that you did that. And then her friend said, well, she's an art major. Like, that's an explanation,
Wow. Yeah.
Well, it's like, not to be mean or anything, but I mean, I feel like, just that doesn't explain why you did that. I mean, art is something that you can learn on your own.
Some people are intuitively good at it.
Well, and there's YouTube too. I mean, anything that you can learn in an art class, you can learn on YouTube these days.
Wow. Yeah.
I do the origami, and the thing I love about origami, I was telling you just before the interview, is that it's pass fail. You're either good at, and I like fine art. That's the good thing about fine art is that, and that's the way art used to be. It's like you've either mastered the technique or you haven't. You can't hide behind like postmodern BS. Yeah, like oh well, that's just my style. That's what I'm going for. Blah blah blah, and you just don't get it. I mean, I have nothing against discovering new types of art and stuff, but a painting of Campbell's soup is just not art. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just like that, and I feel like he really kind of ruined the concept of art.
Yeah.
But
everybody deserves their 15 minutes of fame, and this is yours right now, man.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So.
Can I have like maybe 5 seconds every few months for the rest of my life?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, sure. What would you do if you weren't on YouTube? How much do you think that would change your life, or what would you do at that time?
I think that I've often thought that if I were born earlier, which oftentimes I feel like I should have been born earlier. Like I had older parents, and I often feel kind of a little bit out of step with everything. Like maybe I should have been born about 10 years earlier than I was. And I think that if I had been born earlier, like in the 60s or 70s, I think I would have really been into either CB or ham radio.
Yeah.
Because back then, that kind of was the internet of the time.
Yeah.
Like having your own ham radio handle was like having your own YouTube channel.
Yeah. And
you could pretty much do whatever you wanted. You could interview people like we're doing right now. You could do pretty much whatever you wanted. And I think that if I had lived back then, I think I would have always found some kind of broadcast, like if I had lived in the 1800s, I probably would have become a writer of some kind.
Okay.
Maybe worked for a magazine or a newspaper, some kind of periodical.
Huh. Or just plowed a field.
Yeah.
That's kind of more than likely that's what more people did, but because I really think it was the post World War II, post scarcity, middle class opportunity that allowed people to do this stuff.
Well, Edgar Allan Poe basically invented the magazine industry.
Whoa.
Yeah, like in the kind of early to mid 1800s. So that stuff existed as far as back then.
Cool.
But and yeah, it would depend obviously on opportunities and stuff like that. I mean, if you did come from this really poor family, then it probably wasn't a possibility for you.
But I'm saying, like with you were able to just start with some pretty basic. You had a PT Cruiser camera, rubber bands holding it together. I mean, you started from like the most humble beginning.
Yeah. Well, and I think YouTuber. And I think a lot of people who succeeded, well, I mean, they're always like, like Alexander Hamilton. Everybody is going nuts over him because of that musical. He worked his way up from poor beginnings.
Well, so did Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Not so much George Washington. He married into money. So.
Yeah, and Thomas Jefferson was rich, and most of them were rich.
Yeah.
But a couple of them weren't, and they worked their way up. So there was upward mobility even back then.
Yeah.
If you were talented enough, and if you were persistent enough, and passionate enough. But yeah, what's the next one?
Sure. What was the best vacation you ever took?
Is that it?
I'm looking. It's kind of a confusing question. Yeah, what was the best vacation you ever took?
It would have been. Well, I really enjoyed the week that I spent in Des Moines.
Okay.
And one thing that I liked about that was that it was the first trip I ever took completely by myself. Like every other one was with someone else. I mean, obviously, I've enjoyed my trips to Vegas; those have been nice.
Yeah.
I would say probably my first and second trips to Vegas were great. The third one was a little bit redundant. I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but I think you would agree it was kind of
I'm not going back to Vegas for quite a while.
yeah.
There's no point.
But
yeah, I really
I can't. I would never live there.
No.
I don't know. I like it's a nice place to visit, but I don't understand people who want to live there.
Yeah.
The first trip was fun because it wasn't just a Vegas trip; it was Vegas and Minneapolis. Like
wow.
we spent like a weekend. We spent like the first day and then that last weekend in Minneapolis, so it was almost kind of half and half.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, those are kind of the big ones. Everything else has been kind of more like a 1 day road trip. Well, this wasn't a vacation. This was more of a road trip. But going down to St. Clair, Missouri, to see the complete eclipse, the solar eclipse, that was a big thing.
Total eclipse of the sun.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. And I got you those glasses. Those are really hard to get.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, everybody was wanting those. People, like, you look them and there was like, they were all coming from China.
Yeah.
And they all had a shipping date of like a month after the eclipse would have been over. Like,
they were all just really expensive, and most people didn't even care. They just like, buy now. Okay, Amazon Prime, give it to me in 2 days.
yeah. Yeah, so I definitely appreciate those glasses, and I still have them today.
Yeah, I managed to pick up other pairs. I got them through work. It was like because
the weather was bad up here.
But it's good where you were at.
Yeah, but it's well, and we weren't expecting to see it that day because it was raining down there too. It just happened to clear up just in time. Like, and then after the eclipse, about a half an hour after the eclipse, it was already overcast again.
Wasn't one of the guys you rode with a junkie who did like retarded Russian roulette where he didn't understand how his gun worked? And, yeah. Checked out early.
Yeah, out of respect, I probably shouldn't comment on that.
Okay, yeah, we should probably edit it. I just was thinking of the trip. And, yeah, but at least it didn't happen.
Yeah. So what's your next question?
What is your favorite thing about doing this?
YouTubing. I really like looking at my channel page and looking at the recent videos I've made. It's like when you look on your laptop on my laptop, it shows me like the last 4 videos I made.
Okay.
And just to see them all together and see the kind of what I've been up to in the last month or two, and kind of see the variety and different types of things I've done and like how eclectic it is and how much it's improved and
so it feeds your ego. You're just like, whoa, look at my videos, they're amazing.
I'd say it's just more kind of fulfilling.
Okay.
It's I look at it and I feel like, wow, I've really done something here. And it's like you look at another channel that has like 1 million, something subscribers. But that's one area where YouTube is still very, very much the great equalizer. Is like you go to somebody else's channel versus your channel and the pages like look the same. They still have the same cover photo on the top, the same profile photo, the same, like you can do anything that a big channel can do. You can have an intro video. You can have, so even if you have like me with 1,000 and something, about right now, almost 1,100 subs versus PewDiePie with like, 130 million subs.
So there's like an equality of opportunity.
Yeah. And everyone's visible. Like you're visible right up there with everyone else.
Yeah.
Even if you have like 1/1000th of the number of subs they have,
That is interesting. I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it. But yeah. So it's kind of the standardization of that.
Well, and like being someone who grew up in the '90s, where it was really just like TV shows. Like if you either have a TV show or you don't, it's very binary. It's like you either or you could get on like public access, but it wasn't the same thing.
Wayne's World.
Not everyone had their own channel. Back then, only a channel was something on your TV.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever had any setbacks? And if so, what were some of them? You already kind of elaborated on that in regards to demonetization.
Yeah, the great demonetization of February 2018. And then also, I guess, just really early on when I was promoting my channel and people just really weren't supporting me at all.
Okay.
And I kind of got discouraged. Like, it's a terrible feeling when you post something on Facebook and you think, well, I have 150 friends.
Yeah.
So theoretically, the next time I see this video tomorrow or check out this video tomorrow, I should get about 150 more views, right? And then you look at it and nobody clicked on it.
Not even like one or two.
Like sometimes it'd be like one or two, oftentimes nobody.
Ugh.
Like no one, not even your friends, not even the people you considered close, like close friends at the time. And I would confront my friends with that. I would say, you'll like the photo that I shared of like a cute kitty cat or something, but you're not going to like the video, the link to the video that I made. Like I kind of mentioned that to them. I said, I feel like we like the stuff that doesn't matter, but we don't really support each other.
Wow.
In the ways that do matter.
Dude, that's deep.
Yeah. I just felt the need to point that out to them,
Yeah, things that could help you. Well, because it's so passive and it's just like, oh, pretty picture or something that I agree with. But it's like, wait, he wants me to do action and support whatever crap he's working on. I ain't going to do that.
Yeah. And admittedly, back then, my stuff wasn't very good.
I remember I was one of the few people that liked it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've been very supportive. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to basically be kind of like my sidekick. I wanted you to be... Yeah. I wanted you to be a part of the channel itself because I felt like you deserved it and you contributed a lot to the channel. I mean, you and I have a chemistry that really works. You're obviously very funny. You come up with some good ideas for videos. You have a passion for history just like I do. And a lot of the videos that we make are historical. And that's one area that when I started doing like videos about historical items, artifacts.
Yeah.
That was when I really felt like, in a way, Captain Unusual kind of found its voice.
Yeah.
Because for me, having a YouTube channel, it's about the preservation of history. Yeah. I've always been very passionate about preservation, and it kind of goes back to like being a kid and having a VCR.
Yeah.
And being able to record any show you want and basically have it forever. Like to me, that was so magical as a kid. And so, like, when I shoot a video of, like, a restaurant that's about to close or an old music box that almost nobody has anymore or an antique, glass insulator or something like that, it's a way of preserving the past. And that's something that I'm very, very passionate about.
I think you've done a good job of that, and that's really been, you've added a lot to the, thing there.
Because I think a lot of people don't have the interest in history that you and I have.
Yeah, I've intimidated local historians before.
I know.
Not deliberately, but I'm just like, oh, you're kissing that corporate ass, and I don't do that. I kick ass. I don't kiss ass. Yeah.
Well, that's why we came up with the name Deviant Historian, because you were willing to kind of like talk about the aspects of especially local history that the oligarchs might not have wanted to hear about.
I'm like, these guys were crooked fat cats that had a subsidy sharing circle and were worse than welfare queens. Like, you hate the people who are on Medicaid and who get welfare checks, but you look at these fat cats and they're mostly just frauds that are redistributing tax dollars to enrich themselves at the expense of the working people.
Yep, and the whorehouse was over there. And they all went to it, every single one of them.
And they got their drugs and were all doped up, bumping rolls of coke. So yeah, I knew a lot of the local history that was less talked about.
Yeah.
Next question probably helps see where we're at.
Yeah.
Because it's getting there. I like doing this, and I'm glad we're thorough. I'd recommend doing some edits, though. And what equipment would you recommend for a newcomer? A cell phone, basically, that has storage space?
Yeah, these days a cell phone. I mean, when I first started out, people's smartphones were still relatively new, and I didn't have one. And even the smartphones that existed, a lot of the cameras weren't necessarily that great of quality.
Yeah.
And so I had that Kodak EasyShare. I actually bought that EasyShare the year before Kodak went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that kind of, I always thought that was kind of cool that I had like one of the last true Kodaks, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I had the EasyShare because back then, if you were making serious videos, you still used like a real camera, like a real, digital camera. But yeah, these days most cell phones are good enough. I still shoot in 480p a lot of the time,
Okay.
especially if it's something where the visual's not that important. Not that important. But every once in a while, excuse me, I'll bump it up to 720 or 1080. But yeah, just a regular. I would say get yourself a good tripod.
Okay.
Get a cell phone mount and take good care of that cell phone mount because they're fragile. They're easily broken.
They're effective by design.
Yeah.
The one we got here, I think it has more glue than it does mount.
Yeah, I mean, I glued that thing down because I wanted it to stay put.
Yeah.
But yeah, a good tripod is good. A lot of people get like microphones. I never saw the need for that. But I guess if you want to look really professional, you might want to get like clip-on microphones. Other than that, I don't think it takes. I think the main thing it takes is imagination.
Okay.
And I think that's one reason why a lot of people who kind of saw me making a channel and thought, well, I'm going to do that too, and maybe they didn't succeed was because they didn't have the passion and the imagination. Maybe they had the GoPros, maybe they had the and they also, a lot of them didn't have the persistence.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really takes. I have this almost endless well of ideas for videos.
Okay.
That's another thing. It's like a lot of people. Another great comment that I get is when people say, it's amazing. It's great that you thought to make a video about that. Because a lot of people it's almost kind of like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I kind of think to do that, like to shoot something that a video of something that other people, it just wouldn't occur to them. Like the ball video, the ball bouncing video or something like that. It's like just come up with an idea, and it does take a certain amount of imagination and creativity.
Cool.
But I mean, I'm not saying I'm especially talented. It's just that I have a tendency towards that.
Okay.
Whereas not everybody, looks at something and sees that possibility.
So what made you choose the type of entertainment that you do?
It was a process. It kind of evolved over time. And I would say kind of in the late 20-teens is when everything kind of gelled.
Okay. What is the longest word you know?
Well, anti-disestablishmentarianism is often touted as the longest word in English. I don't know if that's still true. I don't think it is. But that's probably the longest one I know off the top of my head.
So it sounds like that's being Catholic.
Yeah, it's a Catholic term. Anti-disestablishment. So you're against the disestablishment. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. So you're against and you're against disestablishmentarianists.
Yeah.
And then that's your school of thoughts.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think it's about the disestablishment of the Catholic Church, if I remember, or the Anglican Church. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
But I know it's some religious thing.
What language would you like to learn?
Well, for purely practical reasons, Spanish.
Okay.
But knowing Norwegian would be cool because I'm about half Norwegian
Wow.
altogether, and then I I'm probably more Norwegian than anything else.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of just survival, like Mandarin Chinese, I guess, so that I could, like beg people not to shoot me in their own language. But no, yeah, Spanish is the big one. Esperanto would be cool. Esperanto is like a fake language they came up with that they were hoping would become like a universal language. Latin would be a cool one.
Well, Latin, like half the languages in the world.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, like, you at least understand them. Like, you may not be able to speak them, but if you know Latin, you can hear, like, French, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and you can at least kind of make out what's being said.
Yeah.
And I still know a fair amount of Spanish. Like, I can't speak it, but I can, when I hear people speaking Spanish on TV, I can often make out what they're saying.
Okay.
But yes, just for practical reasons, I guess Spanish would be it, but Latin would be another big one, I guess.
Okay. So I'm done with my official questions here. I still have some more for you if you want to go through them.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll check and make sure we're still recording. But yeah, go ahead.
Verify that, and then we know it'll be a piece.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, how many dash cam videos have you done? When did you start doing those?
I think I started doing those in like 2016-ish.
Okay.
And I think I made at least 100.
Okay.
It's definitely in the hundreds. Could be between 100 and 200.
Okay. What video are you proudest of?
Oh boy.
Think about it. We're circling back.
Well, I talked about the Teddy Ruxpin ones, being proud of those.
Yeah, but those are more animatronic ones. I'm thinking of something that's not really in a series or not.
Well, then I'm proud of like shooting like historical documentation, like old locations that don't exist anymore. Often, especially since a lot of people didn't think to do that. Like I would be surprised if anyone else has footage of the original Marion Railroad Bridge, that's being replaced now by the pedestrian bridge.
Yeah. I
shot footage of the original bridge. How many other people thought to themselves, I want to shoot a video of this random old railroad bridge, Like that's kind of what I was talking about before when it comes to the urge to do that a lot of people don't have that I seem to have.
Yeah, nobody cares until 20 years later. Oh, it's gone and we don't have any images of it.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares until it's gone.
Yeah.
I carry them even before it's gone because one thing I've noticed is that if I like something, it means that it's going away soon.
Oh.
Like, really.
Yeah.
So I hold very, very, very close the things that I like and care about because I realize how temporary everything is in the world.
Life is a burning house.
It is, yep. Life is a burning house. Yeah, let's see, proudest. Boy. I mean, any video that took a lot of editing, I'm proud of.
I think you answered it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like the videos where I edited something and I learned how to do a new editing trick, and it came together and it actually looks like an almost professionally done video.
Yeah.
Those I'm definitely proud of. Yeah. But I'm proud of the ones that people appreciate and the ones where they say, thank you so much for making this video.
Yeah, that tends to be good when they're appreciated.
Yeah.
Um.
So what else?
Well, to me, something that I've always thought was cool and that I think was good and you kind of inspired me with was all the videos you did of your dad. How many videos do you think you shot of him?
Hundreds.
Hundreds? Okay.
Yeah, like we're talking hundreds of hours of footage, and most of that is not public.
Yeah.
Most of it is private videos.
He passed away, 3 years ago now, almost?
Almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
This December.
Okay. Yeah. So, you're probably really glad you got them all, though.
Yes. And I haven't watched most of it.
Oh, wow.
Very little of it have I watched. But it's nice to know that it's there.
Okay.
I may never watch it.
Okay.
But just knowing that it's there and that I can go back and relive hundreds of hours with my dad, and not just video, but audio recordings. You know, I mean, it means that a big chunk of him is still kind of alive. You know,
Yeah.
I also thought that if they ever do perfect artificial intelligence to the point where they can recreate people, very few people will have enough raw information to be able to give the software developers to be able to create a good simulation of a person. But since I have all of that data,
Yeah.
I could do it.
Wow.
I could be like one of the beta people, one of the beta testers for that technology because of that, because I have enough raw data to give them that they could feed it to the computer and actually produce a simulation. So that's one of the reasons I did it, is because I anticipated that at some point they would do that in the future.
Wow.
One of the best episodes of Black Mirror was about that.
Huh.
It's about a woman who lost her husband and then recreated him as a robot. But then she ended up regretting it because he still wasn't enough like her husband, that all he did was kind of almost like underscore the fact that he was gone, because
Wow.
he didn't have the husband's memories.
Mm-hmm.
All he had were, I mean, he knew like they took this trip on this date because it was all based on his Twitter posts and stuff like that. So like there were still huge gaps in his memory and stuff, in his personality. He was only her husband on the most superficial level. But in my case, I would have a lot more data than that, because I have actual video recordings of us talking. So I have the rhythms of our interaction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have his reactions to certain things being said. You know, it's much more detailed and much more complex. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to happen in my lifetime anyway. But if it does, I'm ready for it, and I'm totally willing to try that technology out, because as long as you don't think of it as a replacement for that person,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you don't actually look at it as this is them. As long as you keep in mind this is a simulation, it's a way to sort of feel close to them, but you can't expect too much of it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you keep that in mind, I think it could actually be very comforting. Another thing that I think would be very comforting in the future is virtual therapists. You know, artificial intelligence therapists that are not real people, but artificial intelligences that are trained to be therapists and are actually better therapists than a person could be.
Oh.
It would also make therapy a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like it would make it open source. It would make therapy open source. You know.
Oh.
So sorry to go off on a tangent like that.
No. That's why I kind of put these near the end, because I knew they'd be kind of more emotional ones and meaningful ones. Would you ever interview somebody to the same degree that you did with your dad?
Oh, like make as many videos and stuff. Yeah. Maybe my mom.
Okay.
You know, and I have recorded some of our conversations, but I don't do it as much with her. Yeah. But I should, and I will. I plan to. I plan to do more of that in the future.
Family that.
Uh-oh, folks, the interviewer is falling asleep. This is what we were afraid of.
Hey, you got like an hour and a half out of me here.
Actually, almost 2.
I felt like it. I was just like, I went through my list, and then after I went through the list, and I was just kind of like,
well, go through the list and check it twice.
And find out who's naughty or nice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I checked the phone. Like, what's the next question?
I'll double check that. What was your favorite present that you ever got from either Christmas, birthday, or whatever?
Best Christmas present.
Or was there a present? It doesn't have to be best. Was there one that was really life changing for you? Either the best or one that really changed your life. A particular present that you got.
Oh boy, kind of drawing a blank here.
I could name one for me. It was when a neighbor of my mom's family or whatever, she gave me my first computer.
Okay.
And that really, it never even connected to the internet, but it really changed my life in a lot of ways.
Almost everything that's changed my life I've gotten for free. So.
That's still a gift.
Yeah, so the answer is kind of everything. Like, you know, like like just about anything you can think of that's changed my life. I got as a gift.
Well, I thought you were saying if it ain't free, you don't want it.
Well, yeah, I do kind of have that attitude that like, like say if I want to watch a certain TV show, but I'm not willing to pay, if I'm not willing to get it on demand, from a certain streaming service,
Yeah.
um, is it really wrong for me to pirate it? Because if I didn't pirate it, I just wouldn't watch it at all. So it's kind of like, it's an interesting thought experiment, where it's kind of like if you if if you have these people and you're charging something for something and they won't pay for it. So if they don't pay for it, they just won't get it. I mean, people say, oh well, if they want it badly enough, they'll pay for it.
Yeah.
But is that always the case?
So I don't like the word piracy. I prefer digital preservation. I just think that's a more inclusive term and an understanding term from the different technologies.
I mean, I found that life tends to do that for me. Like if I need something, I mean, I may have to wait a while for it, but I usually don't have to buy it. It usually kind of finds its way to me.
Huh.
Now I have to wait a while. There's a delay.
Yeah.
Like I may have to wait a few years but eventually I end up with, I've always been kind of a late adopter anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of fits with me. It suits me anyway, because I tend not to adopt a certain technology or whatever until it's kind of been perfected and the bugs have been worked out. Other people enjoy being early adopters, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I would say I'm more conservative in that way. I'm more of a late adopter.
Well, I think we both have the same feeling towards Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So that was.
Well, that's why when I went to the video game store, I didn't even look at the Blu-rays. I just looked at the DVDs. Yeah, even though they had a lot of Blu-rays, they were probably pretty good price too.
Yeah. Because I had a certain device here that connects online for Blu-ray, and you were having trouble with your Blu-ray disc on your thing. And then it basically you might as well be locked down like you're going to Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
For how they treated you with that. I mean, you had all these ads, and it was like, hold on, oh, you want to see the movie? Let's kick you in the balls first, and then kick you while you're down, and then you run 20 more ads, and force you through it, and share your data with us, and
Yeah.
do all that stuff. So that's kind of a negative technology, but yeah,
I definitely don't like technology that isn't backwards compatible.
yeah. So.
I feel like it's I all of my favorite technology is adaptable and user friendly and not pressuring you into buying something new just to enjoy it.
What do you think of Linux?
Now, my experience with Linux has been kind of tainted because of the Linux laptop that I've used, and
I heard it was a really secure laptop.
Oh yeah,
one of the toughest.
Man, that password, nobody would have guessed that. I mean, we're talking an auto-generated, like just gobbledygook password that the kind that a hacker would never ever crack. But I would have to have a more up-to-date experience with Linux before it forming an opinion, I'd have to say.
Okay.
But I mean, it hasn't been terrible. Even what I've experienced has often been functional.
Yeah.
So.
Let me see here.
And I mean, my everyday laptop, it's a Windows laptop, but it's 6 years old now.
Yep.
Like it's it's turning 7. It'll be like a 6 or 7 year old laptop next year.
Oh, let me see what else is. I'm processing through, or I can't remember. I think
looking at the phone might help.
I already went through the list. It's already been on the phone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, comments about looking at the phone or whatever. So,
well, I don't want to try to like pull water out of a rock.
Let me see here. Well, I feel like we've already done this long enough, kind of. I mean, Is there other stuff you'd want me to ask you, or other ideas, or other things here? I'm more than willing. This is your show, man.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I appreciated you sending me the questions.
Yeah.
But I want to make it clear I did not ask for that. I would have been perfectly fine with having the questions be off the cuff, because I don't want to be like Sleepy Joe where I know every question and every answer off, and having them fed to me through an earpiece or something.
Well, I felt I shared with you half, maybe. I feel like the other half were ones that I'd come up with. I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what you were looking at, and just make sure we were kind of all on the same page.
Yeah, and I think that I remember all of those questions. I think you probably got all of them. So
okay, yeah,
and then you said you went through the list. So
I looked through it a couple of times.
You know what? We're closing in on exactly 2 hours.
Wow, this is like podcast territory.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like I never.
You want me to try to end it right on 2 hours?
Sure.
53, 54, 55. Countdown to doomsday, just like Watchmen.